Hey everyone, I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, managing editor of Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros, and I'm going to run through my favorite player props for week 7. But first, if you want a chance to win a T. Higgins autographed Cincinnati Bengals helmet, courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, you need to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now. Comment below on this video, and that's it. Subscribe, comment, and you will be entered to win this sweet T. Higgins Bengals helmet. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel, so make sure to turn on those notifications so you will be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. All right, I'll be honest, I do not love this week's slate for player props. Probably my least favorite week so far of the season. And it does make me nervous when I'm playing a lot of overs. I do like to keep the yin and the yang of overs and unders somewhat in balance. Not the case this week. So I'm a little nervous, but hey, there are winners out there somewhere. Let's go find them. And let's start with an over for Aaron Rodgers on passing yardage. 234.5 is the number. I do like the over here. The yardage totals for Rodgers on player props keep going down and down. And I think at a number this low, it's a good time to jump in. Now, as bumpy as this season has been for Rodgers and the Green Bay offense, I think they're at a really good spot this week against the Washington Commanders on the road. Rodgers has topped this number half the time this season, 3 of his 6 starts, and one of those misses was only by half a yard. Washington's defense ranks 19th in DVOA against the pass and has an opponent passer rating of 99.1, the 6th worst mark in the league. The Commanders are giving up 244.2 passing yards a game and a robust 7.7 yards per pass attempt, which just so happens to be Aaron Rodgers' career YPA. So I like Aaron Rodgers over 234.5. I like another over here with the passing yardage, and that's Joe Burrow over 285.5 yards. Yes, that is a big number indeed, but Burrow has topped this number in 6 straight home games, regular season home games, that is, averaging 374 passing yards per game over that stretch. Yeah, a couple of those were pretty inflated. There was a 500-yard game against the Ravens. But yeah, still a good spot here with the Bengals at home. The Falcons are giving up 291.2 passing yards per game, and they just put cornerback Casey Hayward on injured reserve. That's certainly not going to help their cause. Their pass defense ranks 23rd in DVOA so far this season, and that is with Hayward. Without him, they're going to be in really bad shape. Burrow is a reasonably safe bet for passing volume. He is averaging 38 pass attempts per game so far in 2022, and he's thrown at least 35 passes in 5 of his 6 starts. All right, moving on to the one rushing total I like this week. Saquon Barkley over 76.5 rushing yards. So Barkley is averaging 19.8 carries and 102.7 rushing yards per game. There has been opportunity aplenty for Saquon so far this season. He has beaten this number in 4 of 6 games this year, and he's run for at least 70 yards every week of the season, 6 straight games with at least 70 yards. Barkley's matchup this week is not exactly a cakewalk. Giants face the Jaguars, and the Jags have allowed the 9th fewest rushing yards by running backs this season. But Jacksonville's run defense has been on a downward trend of late. As my colleague Derek Brown points out in his excellent installment of the Primer this week, the Jaguars' run defense is 17th in DVOA over the last 3 weeks, 19th in rushing yards allowed per game, and 25th in expected points added. Also 19th in explosive run rate allowed. So the Jaguars' run D is slumping a bit, and they're going up against one of the league's best running backs, if not the best. All right, before I give you any more of my player props recommendations for week 7, let me tell you quickly about the one of my favorite tools on Betting Pros. It's the Betting Pros Pick Tracker. And if you want to track all of your wagers in one place, you need to check out the Betting Pros Pick Tracker at bettingpros.com/pick-tracking. It syncs up with your sports books to tally which picks hit and which picks miss. And it gives you a live look at what the public is doing, so you can use real-time tracking to determine which plays to make and which to fade. Get on the leaderboard and quickly become a sharp by using the free advice we have to offer at bettingpros.com/pick-tracking. All right, some receiving totals here. I like Romeo Dobbs over 46.5 receiving yards this week. No, it does not feel comfortable to double up on Packers passing game overs after what we've seen from Green Bay the last few weeks, but I am indeed doubling up on Green Bay passing overs with the over on Aaron Rodgers passing yardage and Romeo Dobbs receiving yardage. And Dobbs is a good bet to have a very hefty snap share this week with Christian Watson out with a hamstring injury. Randall Cobb got hurt in week 6. He's going to be out with a high ankle sprain. So Dobbs is likely going to have a snap share at around 90%, maybe higher than that even. And look, Dobbs has only topped 46.5 receiving yards once this season, and he only did it by half a yard the one time he went over. But he has averaged 7.3 targets and 4 receptions over his last 3 games. And his matchup this week is quite appealing. Washington's defense ranks 26th in expected points added allowed per passing play. And Dobbs is going to run most of his routes against the Washington Commanders' outside cornerback duo of Kendall Fuller and Benjamin St-Juste. PFF has Fuller graded 83rd out of 108 graded NFL cornerbacks this season. St-Juste is graded 75th. It's an exploitable matchup, and I think Rodgers and Dobbs are going to exploit it. Christian Kirk, over 49.5 receiving yards. Now, the Jaguars slot receiver has been slumping. Kirk, I think now's the time to get in on Kirk, however. After averaging 81.8 receiving yards over his first 4 games with Jacksonville, Kirk is averaging just 17.5 receiving yards over his last 2 games. However, this week against the Giants, Kirk is not going to have to deal with perimeter cornerback Adoree Jackson for the Giants. He's their best coverman and one of the better covermen in the league, but he is mostly a perimeter coverman. So with Kirk running most of his routes out of the slot, he is going to be running most of those routes against Julian Love, who has allowed a 71% catch rate on throws into his coverage. I think it's a get-right spot for Christian Kirk. And finally, Chris Godwin over 64.5 receiving yards. This is probably my favorite play of the week. In week 6, Godwin had a 34.2% target share and 48.4% of the Buccaneers air yards. Again, hat tip to Derek Brown for those numbers. And this week against Carolina, Kirk is going to be running most of his routes against Panthers slot corner Miles Hartfield, who has yielded a 75% catch rate and an outrageous 133.2 passer rating on throws into his coverage. Hartfield has been very beatable, to say the least, this season. So it's a smash spot for Godwin, who appears fully recovered from the torn ACL that he sustained late last season. So let's run through those picks again. It is Aaron Rodgers over 234.5 passing yards. Joe Burrow over 285.5 passing yards. Saquon Barkley over 76.5 rushing yards. Romeo Dobbs over 46.5 receiving yards. Christian Kirk over 49.5 receiving yards. And Chris Godwin over 64.5 receiving yards. So once again, not my favorite slate. And I don't like the fact that of my 6 player prop recommendations for week 7, all 6 are overs. But hey, I don't know. I still like these individual plays. So let's make some money this week. Good luck to all of you in week 7. May you come out on the plus side of the ledger, and we'll see you again next week for week 8. So long, everyone.